Looking at my blood work, I had elevated liver enzymes at the back end of last year. And for the past 4 to 5 weeks, I have been taking TUDCA daily at 1000 milligrams per day. And my most recent blood work has shown a significant. Hey guys, the Fitness Doc here, and today's video is going to be looking at the science of TUDCA, or Tauroursodeoxycholic, which is a massive mouthful, acid, and its role in protecting the liver, specifically in relation to liver detoxification and liver enzymes, reduction in liver enzymes, and then looking at some of my blood work, which has shown a big reduction in liver enzymes as a result of using TUDCA daily. But what is it firstly? If we actually look at the chemical structure, it is a bile salt derivative that is naturally present in our bodies anyway in trace amounts or small amounts. Now, bile acids usually help with the digestion of things like fats, as well as to a certain extent drug metabolism and breaking down of drugs, but they also have a key role in actual protection of liver cells. Now, TUDCA is unique because it binds to taurine, taurine being an amino acid, which makes it more water soluble and basically easier for the body to use. But to actually understand how it works properly, we need to look at what happens when your liver is under high levels of stress. So inside each liver cell, you have something called the endoplasmic reticulum, or the ER, inside all cells actually, but specifically looking at liver cells. And basically the ER is the cell's factory where proteins are made and folded into the right shape so that they can then go and do their job. But when the liver is overwhelmed with too many toxins or fats or other stresses, the ER can get overwhelmed and its capacity to actually fold proteins correctly can be overwhelmed, and you get incorrectly folded proteins. And when the ER, endoplasmic reticulum, is having a big buildup of misfolded proteins, it will send out stress signals, which can lead to things like inflammation, insulin resistance, and eventually liver damage if it's not addressed properly. But one of the ways that TUDCA works is that it can help repair the ER and stop the buildup of misfolded proteins that are stressing liver cells. For example, in this study from 2013, researchers found that TUDCA helps the ER work a lot more efficiently, and it does reduce the signals or distress signals sent out by the cell when it's under high levels of stress. And this can prevent inflammation, number one, but it can also prevent large-scale cell death of liver cells. If you're stopping that, you're going to have a much healthier liver as a result, because you're not getting big die-off or misfolded proteins accumulating where they shouldn't be. And one of the most common conditions that TUDCA can help with is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And this condition happens when fat builds up in the liver, not necessarily due to alcohol consumption, which can cause liver disease, but often because of high fats, poor diet, insulin resistance. And this disease can cause the liver to become very damaged, very inflamed, and can lead, if not addressed properly and left chronically, to liver scarring, for example, or large-scale liver cell death and damage. And this is where TUDCA comes in. For example, in this study from 2010, in a clinical trial, participants with insulin resistance usually correlated with large-scale liver damage and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. These participants took TUDCA for 4 weeks, and by the end of the study, the liver fat levels decreased significantly, and the ability for their body to regulate blood sugar was vastly improved. Now, a lot of my blood work analysis with clients is looking at their liver enzymes, specifically ALT, AST, and GGT. ALT is alanine aminotransferase. High ALT levels usually mean that liver cells are damaged and are leaking the enzyme into the bloodstream. AST is aspartate aminotransferase, and this enzyme is found in the liver and other tissues like muscles. So for example, if you go and do a massive, heavy resistance training workout with a lot of muscular turnover and damage to the myofibrils, you're most likely going to have high elevated AST levels if you get blood work done immediately after a heavy workout. And GGT, which is gamma glutamyl transferase, and this enzyme plays a role in bile production. High GGT levels are often linked to bile flow issues, or people who consume a lot of alcohol and have alcoholic related liver damage. Now, usually if ALT or GGT, and to a certain extent AST as well, if it's caused by the liver cell damage, if these are elevated, it can show that your liver is struggling or under high amounts of stress. And fortunately, TUDCA has been shown in the research to reduce these levels significantly. In this study, participants with elevated liver enzyme values who took TUDCA daily, after 12 weeks, their ALT levels dropped by 35%, their AST levels dropped by 28%, and their GGT levels were significantly lower as well, showing that TUDCA can not only improve non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, but also help reduce liver cell injury and damage and improve overall liver function, which is exactly the goal. Looking at my blood work, I had elevated liver enzymes at the back end of last year, and for the past 4 to 5 weeks, I have been taking TUDCA daily at 1,000 milligrams per day, and my most recent blood work has shown a significant decrease in the liver enzymes that were elevated at the time, and I'm really happy with these results, showing that TUDCA can help your liver restore itself and repair function, because you don't want long-term liver damage accumulating, as I've spoken about earlier in this video. Now, as you guys know, I don't just like to say something does something without actually showing how. So for this supplement, no different in this video, I want to look at the actual mechanisms of how it protects your liver from damage. The first mechanism is that it can protect the mitochondria, the actual area that the cell is being powered from, producing the energy that keeps the liver cells functioning. When these mitochondria are damaged, or you're getting mitochondrial damage, the cell cannot survive. Now, TUDCA's role is it stabilizes the membranes of these mitochondria, preventing them from releasing toxins or harmful chemicals that can lead to liver cell death. This then reduces inflammation. So when the liver is stressed, for example, these inflammatory molecules that cause swelling and further damage of the liver cells can really build up and cause massive cell death, and then therefore scarring of the liver later on. TUDCA blocks certain inflammatory pathways in the research. So it's actually blocking these inflammatory processes from continuing. For example, reactive oxygen species that can then lead to massive cell death are being blocked, reducing the production of these molecules, but also reducing cell death later on. And then a final mechanism which has been studied is that it balances the bile flow in the liver. So bile basically is the digestive fluid produced by the liver to help break down fats that we eat. So when bile flow is disrupted, toxic bile acids can build up and damage liver cells. But what TUDCA does is it's basically making the bile less toxic and help improving that flow, essentially preventing harmful buildup and again reducing the inflammation and stopping liver cells triggering their own cell death. So it's not just targeting one problem, it's targeting 3 different vectors to work on multiple levels to try and protect your liver cells and your overall liver function improving as a result of that. So to conclude this video, and if we look at the research and my own results, TUDCA seems to be a pretty powerful supplement at reducing cell death and helping liver cells function more properly. A lot of guys out there are struggling with elevated liver enzymes in their blood work and not really understanding why. Looking at the actual enzymes and what they do, if you're training hard, for example, or your diet is particularly high in fats and your liver isn't actually processing some of those muscle breakdown products or fats from the diet well, it's not processing them well, then what TUDCA can do is really improve the efficiency of that liver and really reduce some of those levels on the blood work, which I've worked with many guys who have come to me with high elevated liver enzymes, and we want to keep those liver enzymes on the lower end of normal reference range for long-term liver health and protection, because the idea is that will hopefully protect against any long-term liver damage or scarring later on. You don't want to have those enzymes high running redline for the rest of your life. So guys, that's a little background on TUDCA. Dosing in most research studies is around 10 milligrams per kilo of body weight per day. I weigh 100 kilos or 220 pounds. That is going to equate to about 1,000 milligrams a day of TUDCA. If you're an 80 kilo person, for example, it's going to be around about 800 milligrams of TUDCA per day as a reasonable starting dose in the research. So if you do have elevated liver enzymes, that would be a massive help for you. Give it a go, see if your blood work changes. It seems to be a relatively well-tolerated product and supplement. And thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next video.